All right, good evening. I would like to call to order the Committee of the Whole meeting, February 12th, 2025 at 6:45. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Here.
Trustee Henson.
Present.
Trustee Horn.
Here.
Trustee Rakes.
Present.
Trustee Wilson.
Present.
Trustee Udress.
Present.
All right, tonight, our committee meeting of the whole is just basically to discuss Aqua received their ICC-approved water rate increase, which amounts to 46.3%. I've been working with Daryl and Ed over the last 3 years on what to do with the water bills, how to decrease the rate for our residents to make it a little more palatable for them without, losing too much of our revenue. So, and now that we've got this increase, it's a little bit more tricky. But we think we've come up with something, so I would like to turn the floor over to our finance director and public works director and have them explain our thoughts and open it up for some discussion and see what you guys want to do with it.
Okay. All right. The handouts that have been left in front of everybody's chair, there's two there. One is the public notice that Aqua provided to all of their customers, informing them of the increase and the effective date. On the part that is pertinent to us is on the second page, highlighted on the second page. Those are the numbers that are affecting us. Those are the rates that were increased. The first is just a flat fee that everybody pays. That went from $40 to $52 per account. So that's not the one that hurts so much. The second one is the actual rate per 1,000 gallons of sewage to be treated. Went from $5.82 per 1,000 gallons to $8.52. And the larger sheet shows the two bills side by side, the November bill and the January bill with the different rates. Pretty well sums it up. Are there any questions about it?
When did this go into effect, did you say?
December 5th. It was approved on November 21st by the ICC.
So
it doubled.
almost immediate.
Immediate.
November 21st, you said?
That was the date it was approved by the ICC, and it took effect December 5th.
This rate, is this the every month rate, or is this the 2-month rate that we're billed at?
No, we are billed monthly by Aqua.
I was talking about this one here.
That's the
monthly?
$52 is monthly.
I mean, I know it says monthly, I was just making sure.
Yeah, $52 is per bill per month.
So we're looking at it over $30 a month per bill. I mean, $30. I mean, even with the single rate and the multiple rate down here, I mean, we're looking at.
Yeah,
And then that's just the collection and treatment.
What that sewer charge is
Yeah.
basically their flat service charge that everybody pays before they even tally up the consumption. So if we were to use 0 gallons, we're still going to pay that minimum $52.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, we're looking at per single household or whatever for the 2-month pay period, billing period. We're probably looking at an increase of $80, $30 per month, and then almost $10 for the collection.
So the $52, and jump in here if I'm wrong. The $52 has always just been absorbed by the village.
That's correct.
Okay. The rates that are passed, or the charges that are passed on to residents are just the usage. You know, for what, you know, they still have their minimum 4,000 gallons, and then it's per 1,000 gallons billed after that.
Okay.
So what you're saying is it's 52.25, so it'll be 104.50 no matter what.
Yes.
Then 4,000 gallons.
Well, no.
No,
The $52 is absorbed by the village. The residents don't even see that.
Okay.
So this is our bill from Aqua.
Yes.
This is not like what we get at our house.
Yes. This is the village's bill to Aqua, but the charges, of course, are passed through to the resident.
Understood. That's what I'm trying to figure out is what, and I guess Daryl will get into what the residents will be saving after this. Okay.
That's the next part.
But I'm just curious, how do they measure this? How is this actually measured? Is it a guesstimate?
No, there are 2 meters as they leave town. One is on Route 50, one's on Will Center Road, and there are 2 ultrasonic meters that actually measure the flow as it's leaving town. So it's not just a wild guess.
But that includes rain and drainage, that includes rain and drainage water and everything, so I mean.
Yes, I mean our storm and sanitary sewers are separate, but you know we have a 40 or 50-year-old system, and you can't catch all the leaks. So when it rains, you do see the consumption spike going through those meters.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, those 2 meters, one is theirs, one is ours. So
No,
we're
they're both. The meters actually belong to. Oh, all right. I see where you're going with this. So Aqua has 2 meters that they own. Those are the meters they use to bill us from. Just upstream of that are 2 more meters that we own, that we maintain. So we just
To keep them honest.
Keep them honest, so
Yeah.
we can make comparisons, make sure that what they're billing is what we're showing as well.
And how comparable?
They're usually within 4 or 5% of each other. You know, kind of within the margin of error.
It's kind of like when a business has their clock 5 minutes ahead, you know, that's going to be in their favor, you know.
This is just unacceptable. They've doubled the bill.
And previously, they had that increase of 50%, now another one of 40%.
Yes, that was 2018. I believe the number was 62%. Those numbers are a little bit skewed on this bill that you're looking at. The November 22nd bill on the left was for 11 million gallons of water at the lower rate. The January bill was for 17 million. So the consumption isn't exactly the same. So I mean, yes, I mean obviously the sewer charges are higher, but it was also a higher amount, higher quantity of sewage.
And that's the rate increase, 46.3%.
Yes.
Well, all the more reason to get our sewer plant going and tell the landlord go away.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with
You know, it's just knowing that we're paying for Peatone to get new water service because they sold their stuff over.
That I don't have that in front of me, but I did read that part of the rate case that Aqua filed with the ICC was that they wanted to pass on their cost of acquiring new systems on to their customers. Which is us.
So they're enticing other people to split.
So what will a resident's water bill look like?
That's what we're here to talk about.
Okay.
Okay, so when we sat down, as the mayor stated, myself, Ed, Ruben, and the mayor, we had some goals that we wanted to accomplish. One of the goals was to get rid of the minimum bill. That was one of the first things we wanted to do. As of now, everyone whether you use 4,000 gallons or less, you're paying the same bill. So that was one of the things that we wanted to alleviate. One of the other goals was to maintain the revenue that the village currently gets. We didn't want to make a change in these rates and then have lower revenue because, as you can see, sewer rates have gone up, things are going up. So we didn't want to drop that down either. We also wanted to give the residents at that 4,000 or less, we wanted to give them some kind of reprieve from water bills. We acknowledge that, this is something that we've wanted to do over the past 3 to 4 years, and we wanted to be able to do something and make a commitment to that. So this that we're talking about tonight is kind of the first stage in what we're trying to do moving forward. This is kind of a preliminary start. I know that we have to go back to the drawing board and do more, but this is just the first thing that we were able to come up with. So currently, the minimum water bill for 4,000 gallons is $143.13. That includes $16.84 bi-monthly capital and maintenance. There's the garbage on the bill at $41.82 bi-monthly. The sewer, there's a fixed rate of $64.97 bi-monthly. And then as you reach the 4,000, there's $7.40 for each 1,000 gallons you used at that point. Water, $19.49 bi-monthly plus $4.02 per 1,000 gallons over the 4,000. So each additional 1,000 gallons of water used and sewer, there's $11.42 added to the bill, moving up per 1,000.
So it's 402 plus $11.
It's 402 plus the 740. What we're proposing tonight is basically to get rid of the water portion of that monthly standard bill, which is the $19 dollars if you're under the 4,000 gallons of water. With that, we would charge then the 1,000, which is 402 per 1,000, starting at 1,000 gallons, 2,000 gallons, and 3,000 gallons, up until you get to the 4,000 gallons. Now, the savings isn't going to be astronomical, but it will be a savings to those that are using 1,000 gallons and 2,000 gallons. So at 1,000 gallons, the bill would be $127.65. At 2,000 gallons, it'd be $131.67. 3,000 gallons would be $135.68, and 4,000 gallons would be $139.70. Yes, sir.
Is this 1,000, 2,000, and so on, is that monthly?
That is bi-monthly.
Or
Bi-monthly.
That's every 2 months?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Because I know you're not responsible for computers. We all have these new meters, and right now they're rounded to the nearest thousand. Since you're proposing, making this proposal only charge for the gallons used, so if it's 1,452 gallons, are they going to be charged for 1,452 gallons? And if somebody is using 4,100, they'll be charged for 4,000.
So that's kind of another phase that we want to look at. We want to see if we can break it down to tens, hundreds. Currently we're at 1,000, but maybe that's some way we can also create a savings by going down to maybe 10 or 100 gallons or something of that nature.
We have the decimal points to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's. I believe it has to work with census as well as BSNA to.
There's a lot that's gone into it, and we've tried it with a couple accounts, and it did actually create some havoc. There was some confusion. I'm not sure exactly if this was about 2 years ago. I don't have that information in front of me.
Before BSNA started?
No, it was after. So we did try it out on a couple of accounts, and there were some issues with the billing being accurate.
I think because of BSNA being new at that time, and we were struggling with where the decimal was, because sometimes you go 4 digits over, sometimes you go 2, so that creates somewhat of an issue. Even Aqua, when they bill, I believe Aqua goes maybe 4 decimals or so back.
They're billing by thousands.
By thousands?
Yeah.
So,
And that's very common, around, either municipal water systems or privately owned water systems. They're pretty common to bill by the thousand. It simplifies the process.
So no prorated amounts?
no prorated amounts, no.
But ultimately, you're not being billed for water that you're not using. So, for instance, if you use 4,500 gallons of water, you're gonna get billed for 4,000. And you will pay that fifth 1,000 once you fully use that 1,000. Right. So the following month, you know, if you use another 4,500, you know, it would be. It just really is kind of where the meter reading is at the time the reading's taken.
It's kind of like our numbers in the car. We used to have tests.
Exactly. That's true.
Yeah. I never really thought
I
about
never
that.
thought about that, but that's true.
So, continuing on, a consumer using 1,000 gallons would save $15.48. 2,000 gallons, they would save $11.46. 3,000 gallons, they would save, at that point, $7.45. And then 4,000 gallons would be $3.43. Once you hit the 5,000 gallons at this point, your bill will then be the same rates that they are now. So, you know,
We don't have like residents, like private residents that are using many more than 4,000. I think it would be more business users.
I would say probably the average is
Your average
7,
is 8 to 10.
Yeah.
8 to 10,000 per billing cycle is probably
Yeah.
a good average.
It's
8 to 10 per billing cycle?
Yes.
Per personal, per homes?
Yes. Yes.
per home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Probably.
And I guess what we're trying to do at the moment is get the users that really don't use much water, and are looking for a savings. So that's what we were trying to do at this first stab at getting to the water bills. So on my last page here, just trying to show that with these changes in the billing, our total billing over the 2 months, there's like a $3,000 separation in what we get in total billing versus what we would propose. So you get 3,000, only 3,000, yes. And so what we're trying to do is still we'd like to break even when we move further into creating more relief for others that go above the 4,000 gallons of water. So we're just trying to figure out maybe we'll do a tiered group, or maybe we'll do some increases on really heavy users versus, some of the light users. But that's kind of where we are, and that's the first step in trying to create some relief in the water bills.
That 3,000 figure, that was for what?
I'm sorry.
That 3,000 figure was?
135.68, savings up.
There's only a $3,000 difference.
Oh, yeah.
That's 3,000 for the whole village?
3,000 per billing cycle.
Per billing cycle?
Per billing
for the
cycle,
village?
yes.
The whole village,
Yes.
And that's applying.
That's probably.
That's simply taking those users that are commonly using that small amount.
Yeah,
You know,
understood.
so-
Yeah.
Yep.
So their savings would total
Right,
$3,000.
exactly.
How fast can they do that?
Well, we in finance,
Timeline for getting it
we could switch it all tomorrow if that was the case. We just need to tweak the way the billing is done. I don't know on you all side if there would be much.
I don't believe there would, because our billing is going to be the same either way. So I guess the timeline depends on the board meeting schedule. So,
If I could pipe in here. So we presented it tonight for your consideration, and we can have it ready with approval, a consensus at the next board meeting to pass it. There's another consideration I wanted to put out there for the boards to think about, and that would be to use the TIF proportionate to the infrastructure that's in a TIF district. There is a lot in the budget that we place in there to maintain and upkeep the system, to keep it running. And the highest users in the industrial section, one of them is using over 100,000 gallons a day. Water, and then discharging that as well. And that's just one of them. So that taxes the system. And for them to pay the same amount as a resident does, who's just using a few thousand gallons, in a cycle, in a billing cycle, it's not proportionate. And so we want to come back in the next phase and present to the board the increases that, for the board's consideration to put on the industrial section and to also raise to help offset, and maybe we can lower the residential side more with your consideration. But I wanted just to bring up the TIF aspect of it. And one of the things that TIF is used for is for infrastructure. And so as we're maintaining, we're upgrading, we're adding new or repairing. And I've asked Larry to take a look and to just to bring it up, and maybe, Larry, if you just want to share a little bit about our discussion.
Thanks. Everything that we talked is how what we can do to offset some of this cost. And we're looking at using some of the TIF money that we have. TIF, as the board knows, is used for infrastructure purposes, land acquisition, a few other items, but these are infrastructure costs. So I think it would be valid cost for us to get reimbursed. Most of the times when there's infrastructure is for a private development, whether it be Northern or Siegfried, but here it's for our own infrastructure. But I still think it'll be a valid cost that we could reimburse ourselves, as long as we can't reimburse ourselves for the entire pipe or water main. It's just for that part that's inside that TIF district, whether it be TIF 3 or TIF 5, whatever the case may be. But we can't go beyond that because that's not TIF.
I don't quite see
So-
how that would work, because TIF is a one-time payment, and this is something that's going to be recurring every month with these increases.
Well, it can be a one-time payment, but the board could also do it on a yearly basis. But again, if it's for the infrastructure, say the infrastructure was, I'm just saying, $1 million. You could do like $100,000 a year for 10 years. Or, like you're right, Scott, you could do a one-time payment.
But then, it's only for kind of like the heavier users that are in that eligible TIF district then. Then, like, and percentage-wise, if I remember right, there was like only 20% of our, or 5% of our, there was only like 5% of our users or 10% of our users that are actually heavier users than any of the residents. And probably, maybe all of them are within that TIF, yes?
That would be accurate, yeah. Most of the heavy users, I would say, yeah, all of the heavy users are within a TIF
That five.
district, yes.
Daryl, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do we have a graduated scale, or is it one flat rate?
It's a flat rate,
It is?
yes. And that's one of the things that.
That's-
Yep,
I know a lot of places, it's, the more consumption, the more cost you're gonna absorb.
I
And
think that's
it's-
going to be a
I-
part
We
of our.
talked about that a couple
Yeah,
of
I
times,
can
yeah.
Next steps,
That's-
yep.
Like Chicago, when they do their water rate increase, you'll see graduated scales.
Yep.
And a lot of villages have that where it's, to help out the residents. So if a company's using it more than everybody else, they should pay a higher rate.
Yep.
Well, that's what Ruben had just got done saying, right? That they're paying the same rate as residential, basically, and that I don't believe that is fair.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, so we need that yesterday. That's scale
I think
difference.
the balance is then what is fair for them in terms of, are you going to increase the amount of water? Because within, some of our heavy users don't use sewer, okay, so, or is it,
Yes, that is accurate.
so,
Some do, but some don't.
I believe,
That's the algebraic part of what we need for these.
that is correct, that's kind of the issue.
Because some of them need to use it for cooling, and it just burns, it steams off, right?
And some are connected, have their sewer connected directly to Aqua and bypass us, and they pay
Okay.
that bill directly to Aqua.
So we're looking for tonight to bring just the residential part up, and where we will be waiting again for some commercial or industrial.
Yes, sir.
We're going to do them in two separate phases.
Yes, sir. Correct.
I'm in agreement then. My consensus is yes.
Sure. I know there was some question about why you know, we mentioned that this has been something that we've been talking about for 3 years and looking at all different options. And there's two reasons why we haven't come forward, and one is we knew that Aqua was appealing to the ICC for this rate increase. And so, you know, there was a possibility of getting some egg on our face, so to speak. We increased the rates, and we're lowering the rates, and now we've got to figure out a way to make it up. And the other is, which we've been talking about for the last several years as well, is the wastewater treatment plant. And so that, you know, do we do a levy? Do we do a bond? Do we, you know, how would we pay for that? And so all that would play a part in the rates as well, and what we're charging the residents. So instead of pulling the trigger, okay, let's continue to move forward. Let's see when this happens and what those rate increases will be. And that's kind of here we are now.
Daryl, you mentioned a little bit of tweaking yet to do on the residential part of this.
Yes.
So,
Because I think the residential part over 4,000 gallons and above, I think that's going to coincide with what we do with the commercial aspect as well, because then you have more users in that over 4,000 to 10,000 gallons usage. Those are, you have more individuals and households is using at that rate versus the commercial end of things, where you may have a heavy user, but if they're not using, let's say, sewer, that kind of drops things down and puts us on the underside of profitability.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
And then by utilizing these cost saving for the residents, then that still gives us enough that we're still putting in the piggy bank for this treatment plant when we can move forward then.
Ultimately, that's the goal. That's what makes it difficult, is because we still have to recognize that we do have to have the revenue for the water waste treatment plant. So that's been the goal.
So Ruben, at this point, we're just asking about this, and then we're also going to look into the commercial portion of it, and also going to look into, Larry's going to look into TIF?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Okay. Just to be clear, 3 different parts.
And if you look between the last 2 rate increases, you're at 108% of a total increase from 2018 to today. And it's going to only go up, and whatever to help the residents is what I believe we need to do. The big users of the water consumption, I understand the sewage part of it as the why, because they have to do things different with what's leaving in that sewer, or however you say that. So I'm on board with whatever's helping the resident.
Just an off-topic, but still on-topic question. When does our contract with Aqua expire?
7 years.
2031.
Correct.
6 years.
2031. I believe it's May 2031.
And I mean, just if we could do it poof today, it's still going to take about minimum 8 years to get a water treatment plant.
I think a little less than that.
It is less.
Yeah.
4 to 5. So we're still within that window.
Okay, that's just a question I wanted the math on.
There's an 18-month period where we have to notify them prior to the end of the contract if we're going to break away or separate from that contract.
So in other words, 4.5 years, we got to be able to, okay.
Yes, sir.
And that was 26 or 32 million, the last time we got that number from you? I'm not going to hold you to it, but it was ballpark
No,
there.
I want to say the last number was 28.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Is that
Okay. I couldn't remember. I thought it was 32.
It increases, I think, 3 to 4% each year. I think 28 was the last number that was put out there.
Well, I mean, you're at 108% increase in the last 2 increases in 8 years. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to equal 28 million. What I'm saying is that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
And Aqua doesn't seem to think that it's a problem.
And we thought this
Right,
ICC board would
exactly.
be more on the consumer side. They have not shown that.
And with
Although
Aqua
they
being
did-
the
it
only
was-
game in, oh, I'm sorry.
They proposed an 88% increase, and they only increased it 46, so that's what, at least they didn't approve the whole 88%, so.
And with Aqua being the only game in town, guess what they've got a monopoly on?
So I guess along John's, on subject but off subject kind of thing, as far as like the TIF payment, where was I going that with the TIF payment? Or if we do, or when we start digging deeper on this, would this be something that an IEPA loan would be available for, or it would
Absolutely.
qualify for that?
Yes, absolutely.
There also be any grants involved with that along, I mean, there'd be,
There could be, and sometimes those, sometimes portion of those loans are forgivable. So it's, I mean,
So
obviously,
now we're-
you don't know what that looks like until it happens. But the last IEPA loan we took out was for $3.5 million, and we got $1.5 million forgiven.
I'm-
That was for the water tower.
That was for the water
did,
tower
yes.
and well 5, yes.
I mean, I know it's not an overnight thing, but I would love to get out from underneath Aqua's thumb.
Absolutely.
Just thank goodness that we don't have their water.
Exactly.
When's our next meeting for the wastewater treatment plant?
Don't have my calendar in front of me, but I will get that for you.
Me too.
Just send me
You
a
just got a
calendar.
lot more support.
It's more of a logistical meeting.
So, Daryl, you said right now what the bill would look like is $139.20 or 70 for 4,000 gallons,
139.70, yes.
and each additional 1,000 gallons, I know we said it would be 10, 100, 1,000, and that's that rate of,
So for the water, it'd be $4.02 per 1,000.
and 7,
704,
740.
740 for sewer per 1,000.
and that's the 1949 that's going away.
Well, the 1949 is a separate cost. That's like a fixed cost for the water.
Okay.
That we had from 1,000 gallons to 4,000 gallons. And we're removing that and just charging the 402 per gallon, starting at 1,000 gallons.
Okay.
So this is ready to go now without any more tweaking. The tweaking part of it is with the commercial or industrial.
Yeah, as far as the first part, yes, we're ready to go with this.
All right, as in a consensus, again, I'm in.
So just to be clear, it would be to bring the proposed water rate plan and it's proposed tonight to the February 26th board meeting
Yes.
for approval and also an ordinance.
Okay, roll call, please.
Consensus.
Oh, everybody's good? Everybody's?
Yes.
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 All right. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.